Hi, I'm Mike Lowe for Digital Camera, and today we're looking at the Samsung NX100. This is the latest compact system camera from the company, and it follows on from the NX10, which was released towards the beginning of the year. It's got the same 14.6 megapixel CMOS sensor at its centre, although generally the difference between the cameras is fairly negligible, except for the obvious design differences. Although the NX100 is targeted at the style conscious, there are a few issues in that it doesn't have an electronic viewfinder built in, and there's no built-in flash unit either. One of the great new features that the NX100 includes is the new 20 to 50mm lens, which has an eye function lens capability. Essentially, this is a function button that's on the lens unit itself, and when you press it, it jumps into the most immediate options that you'll need depending on the mode that you're set in. To then adjust them, you can use the rotational D-pad on the back, or you can actually use the focus ring on the lens to quickly cycle between them. As well as being able to capture from ISO 100 through to 3200, this can be extended to ISO 6400 as well. There's a 3 frames per second burst mode, and it's also possible to capture 720p HD movie using the H.264 compression type. The screen to the side of the controls is a 3-inch AMOLED screen. Now, AMOLED isn't the same as LCD, it's actually a much better technology. It's more fluid in its playback, it's got a much higher contrast ratio, and crucially it uses up less power than LCD would. The menu functionality is fairly intuitive as well. It's divided into the various options that you'd most commonly select, and once you've found the option you can jump up into it and use the rotational wheel to select the option quickly and easily. The 3 frames per second burst mode isn't lightning fast, and the main issue is that with every raw frame that you shoot you have to wait for 1 to 2 seconds before you're able to adjust anything in the camera at all. This can be a problem even just shooting a single frame, as you may want to adjust the ISO very quickly and you're unable to do so. Furthermore, the battery life proved to be quite poor, particularly when shooting raw files, likely due to the amount of processing time that it takes to process through each of these files, and just a couple of hundred shots could lead towards the end of the battery life. On the plus side, the AMOLED screen on the back is fantastic, and it's a shame that more manufacturers aren't using this kind of technology. In addition, the new eye function lens, as simple as it sounds, is actually very useful indeed, and it's a good way of quickly accessing into options. However, they have slightly missed a trick here, because put the eye function lens on the NX10, which has an electronic viewfinder, and you can in real time adjust options whilst looking through without needing to remove the camera and look on the back screen. In terms of image quality, the NX100's tones can be a touch on the flat side and slightly lacking contrast, but this does lend itself well to print. There's plenty of room for manoeuvre to adjust images in post-production as well, and even the picture wizard mode allows for in-camera adjustments, and you can resave files once you've edited them in camera. Exposure was generally accurate, with the occasional overexposed sky making way for a more mid-range exposure level. A smart range option does amp up the shadow and mid-tones alongside the highlights to pull a more equal exposure back, if this is desired. The Samsung RAW converter software is now available across both Mac and Windows platforms, the Mac version a new asset that previously wasn't available. A slight concern for auto white balance was its inconsistency between various ISO settings when shooting the same scene. Ignoring this particular circumstance, however, the colour in everyday photographs was pleasing on the rear screen. The sheer amount of white balance control available also allows for considerable control. Whether tweaking the presets or manually setting the Kelvin temperature, the level of detail is great and even includes a bracketing option. Image quality is on par with that from the NX10, and image noise is exhibited in some form throughout the ISO range when viewing at 100%. At around £380, this is the most affordable compact system camera available to market, and it's certainly one of the trump cards played here. However, it's not without its issues. The body size is actually quite large, especially when compared to the NX10, because it's more or less the same size and there's no particular necessity for it being so. Also, the lack of an electronic viewfinder and no flash unit will prove a particular sticking point for many. Add to this some processing issues and image quality that's good but not necessarily great, and there's certainly some problems. However, the new eye function lenses are fantastic, and when this finds the right market, it will certainly do well with those that are looking for a camera such as this. As such, we gave it 85%.